I'd like to call this meeting to order. Will you all please rise and join in the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Litt.
Here.
Vice Mayor Reed.
Here.
Councilmember Woods.
Here.
Councilmember Marciano.
Here.
Councilmember Tinsley.
Here.
Are there any additions, deletions, or modifications this evening?
No, ma'am.
Next, we'll move on to announcements and presentations. Would Todd Engel, City Engineer, please come to the podium?
Complete. Sorry about that. 3 still remain to be complete. All those are in the northern end of the county, County Line Road, Tequesta Drive, and Riverside Drive. Those are anticipated to be complete within the next couple months. There's still 2 bridges that are still working on. One is our bridge on Erman. They're completing some structural stuff on the Erman. That should be complete by June. And the one that's going over the Intercoastal Waterway in Jupiter, that's still going to take some time. So they're still working on that particular bridge. So how do we establish a quiet zone? Again, we're going to look for the whole corridor between 23rd Street in West Palm Beach all the way north to the County Line Road. So all these crossings will be included in the entire quiet zone corridor. So that's going to be a lot of coordination between us, Riviera Beach, Lake Park, Jupiter, Tequesta. Everybody along this corridor has to submit together. But as a municipality, we are responsible for all railroad crossings within our municipality to submit to the Federal Rail Administration. So regardless of ownership, so we have 3 in our jurisdictional boundary that we have the rail lease on, as well as the county has 3. So there's 6 total. We have 3 and the county has 3. We'll be responsible for all 6 in this submittal. What we have to do is we have to evaluate each crossing, put it into a quiet zone calculator, and again, those are all worked together and it's stretched out to this whole corridor. So we don't have to meet all of the requirements at every crossing, but together as a group, we have to meet a substantial amount to achieve the quiet zone. So it's a big effort between all the municipalities and everything. The TPA is leading this charge. So if we find that any of our crossings are deficient and we have to install new supplemental safety measures to meet the quiet zone, that is going to be on us. However, the good news is the TPA has funded and will pay for all those along this corridor, so there'll be no additional funding from what we will have to do to establish this quiet zone. When we went through the process already to have the double tracking put through our city, we worked with Bright Lines and we worked with the TPA to install most of the quiet zone and most of the requirements for the quiet zones already. So we did a field analysis. Oh, one big thing I forgot to mention, and I always got to mention it, that any given time, the conductor of the train has the option to blow the horn, no matter how the quiet zone is. If he feels it necessary to blow the horn, he has that option, and we can't stop that. The quiet zone will obviously be established, and you're going to hear this everywhere, that still, no matter what you do, if they feel it's unsafe or there's a requirement that they have to blow a horn, they will blow the horn. So again, these are our crossings. Now there is, when we met with the FAA or the FRA, they said we may have to pick up Richard Road because that's sort of in no man's land. Lake Park is going to take North Lake Boulevard, so we may have to pick up Richard Road, and Jupiter may take Donald Ross, so we're just working through those semantics right now, but most likely we'll be doing 6. We conducted an audit on January 5th when we walked each one of our crossings to look at what needs to be done, and we'll go over each one of those. So Donald Ross Road had a 4-quadrant system, and the 4-quadrant system has gates on both sides, so not for incoming traffic. So if someone actually jumps a median or going the wrong way, they're stopped from a gate that way. And that's the main supplemental safety measure that we're going to achieve, because some of the median requirements are hard to achieve, especially in our particular area. So the 4-quadrant gates is what we're focusing on. So Donald Ross was built with a 4-quadrant gate system. Moving down to Hood Road. Hood Road did not have a 4-quadrant gate system, so all we need to do here is take a small ped gate, extend the arm on it, then we have a 4-quadrant gate system. We have to add some additional signage, and we're going to remove some redundant systems. If you see this ped gate here, it doesn't need to be in place. Since we're paying for some of these crossings, we don't want to pay for these things every year, so we'll remove any redundant system out of the area that we see. RCA Boulevard, additional signage are all going to require additional signage, and we got to take this ped gate, move it over a little bit, and then extend the arm, and that will create a 4-quadrant gate system there. Again, most of the components are in place. It's just moving and adding some minor issues to it. Same thing with Burns Road. We need to remove the ped gate arm and just extend a longer arm out there. We're going to remove a redundant ped gate, and we got to add some signage. And then our last one is Lighthouse Drive, and that's just additional signage, and we're going to remove a redundant gate in that crossing. So those are our supplemental safety measures when we walk with the rail administration and we walk with the TPA that need to be achieved in our area. So now we can put this into the quiet zone calculator and get ready to submit to the Federal Rail Administration for a quiet zone. A little update on All Aboard Florida. These are not my dates. These are what's been posted and what I received. They haven't hit a lot of dates lately, so these I'm going to give you what I know to date. So the construction is due to be completed December 2022 to Orlando. Tests will begin January 17th, and they're going to start running trains once a day, roughly between 50 and 80 miles per hour, depending on where they are. Right now, they're going to run from 23rd to where they can, to in Jupiter, and then eventually they'll start running through Tequesta. Eventually, they'll start running north as far as they can as these things get completed. They anticipate to be full operational and running actual people January of 23, January 2023. So where does that put us with our quiet zone? So right now we're organizing with all the municipalities and through the TPA. We're identifying what needs to be done. We're going to complete those additional supplemental safety measures, and we're going to apply what is called a notice of intent to establish a quiet zone. By November of 2022 of this year, we'll apply that notice of intent that we do intend to establish a quiet zone. They'll come out and do all their checks to make sure everything is what they say they are. Then in March of 2023, we will do a notice of establishment of the quiet zone to the Federal Rail Administration, and by that time, the quiet zone should be established from 23rd Street to Tequesta. These are all tentative dates again, but that's the information that we have through the TPA, through the Rail Administration, and through Brightlines. And again, they can blow their horns at their discretion if they find it necessary. Any questions?
I have a question, if that's okay, Madam Mayor. So I think we've been talking about this for 10 years.
I started here in 2003, and it was one of my first tasks is to establish a quiet zone.
Yes.
Apparently, I'm not very good at it.
And and we're still here talking about it. So I'm so happy that it's coming to fruition finally. First, is this going to be on our website so people can refer to this little these graphics? I think that would be helpful.
Yes, we'll have it posted on the website.
Awesome. That would be great. And I think we can continue updating it as we have information, because it seems like no matter where we speak, no matter who it is, every time we get up to talk, whether it's at a function or a campaign thing or whatever, everyone always asks us about quiet zones, especially in my neighborhood. Every HOA meeting that I go to, even if I'm in the audience, they ask me to get up and speak about quiet zones. So I really appreciate this, and any information, greatly appreciated.
Yeah, if you could see that I get the PowerPoint version too to add to a program I have to give, I would like to have the slides in there too, so
Okay.
thank you.
Question. So you said the TPA is going to pay for any additional upgrades that each crossing will have to go through. What about the application itself? Is there a cost to that as well? And I know that we are responsible for maintaining the crossings, that hopefully they'll be well maintained for quite some time into the future, but in terms of any additional costs that the city should be expecting for this process?
When we went through with their plans, we added a lot of those safety measures in the original set of plans when they went to double track. Lighthouse, Burns, and Kyoto are ours, so we pay for the additional improvements. So that is an ongoing expense to pay for those improvements. I do not know whether the TPA is going to pay the application fee or not. I will get that information back. But like I said, we're responsible for our area, but it's going to go together as a package for everything. And the TPA has already offered to do that. They paid for the original safety measures when Bright Lines came through, so they funded like $25 million for those. They're going to fund the rest of it, so I'll get back with you on the application fee.
Okay, thank you.
But they're not paying for staff time. There's a lot of staff time that goes into this that, obviously that's our time.
Sure.
Will the county pay for their 3, even though we're submitting the 6?
They're not going to pay for the additional stuff that needs to be done, but neither are we. But because we're the municipality that represents the area, we have to include all 6 in ours. So it's because the TPA is paying for it, it's not really a fight on that.
All right. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Good. All right, thanks, Todd. All right. Next is comments from the public for items not on the agenda. I have one card. Would Ramona Bean approach the podium and state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Ramona Bean, live at 5439 Cicada Way in Palm Beach Gardens. Good evening, Mayor Litt and City Council and City staff. First, it's twofold tonight, my comments. I just want to say thank you. I know I say thank you a lot to you guys, but this really comes from the heart, especially the last few weeks that our community has been through a lot. Just want to say thank you for helping us gain more access and information to COVID testing. I've had a lot of friends and family deal with illness in the last several weeks, and it's been very helpful. And Vice Mayor Reed has been helpful as well, just getting that information out, disseminating it, so it's been helping us. I personally assisted a lot of family and friends who have had illness over the holiday season, and it was really helpful just to know that you guys had our back and provided more testing. And if we couldn't get in here in the gardens, where else we could go while we were making soups and tea for loved ones. It brings me to my second comment. It's actually a question. I was trying to look around because some folks had asked about, of course, one of the biggest complaints I hear about being COVID positive is being dehydrated and just needing some strength. So some folks wanted to find out where they could get I can never say this word right, but it's monoclonal antibodies. And I know it's been available to our county, and our county medical officer said, look, it's available, but I didn't know if our city can request more access through the state or federal entities to see if that can be provided to our city. Again, it might be a moot point. I just haven't been able to find the information to help any loved ones about it. So I was just wondering if that's a possibility. But otherwise, thank you. You guys are doing a great job, and happy belated New Year. So.
Thank you. Quick answer, the medical staff at Jupiter was just notified that Jupiter does have them now, and local physicians who are on staff can send their patients. Next is City Manager's report. Ron?
I just want to bring to everyone's attention, I think you have a flyer on the dais up here for everyone to know about our Public Safety Day this Saturday, the 15th, from 10 a.m. to 1. Live demonstrations, games, foods, police, fire, all kinds of demonstrations, some fun, food trucks. It's quite an event at the Gardens in North County District Park. So I just want to invite you and every member of the public out. It's going to be a fun day. So I hope, and it's going to be nice and bright and sunshiny. We're guaranteed by that with our vice mayor. So we want to see everyone out there having a good time. So you're invited. Come and join us, please. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ron. Next, consent agenda. Anyone pulling anything from consent tonight? Nope. Okay, then can I get a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Any opposed? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Tonight, we are holding quasi-judicial hearings on the following cases. Resolution 1, 2022, site plan approval within Panther National Pod 12. Resolution 2, 2022, Avondale at Avenir, site plan amendment. Resolution 3, 2022, Old Palm Golf Club Incorporated, site plan amendment. This means that the City Council is required by law to base its decision on the evidence contained in the record of this proceeding, which consists of the testimony at the hearing, the materials which are in the official city file on this application, and any documents presented during this hearing. The council is also required by law to allow cross-examination of any witnesses who testify tonight. Cross-examination may occur after the staff, the applicant, and other participants have made their presentations and will be permitted in the order of the witness's appearance. It is necessary that anyone who testifies at the hearing remain until the conclusion of the hearing in order to be able to respond to any questions. If you plan to testify this evening or wish to offer written comments, please fill out a card and give it to the city clerk. The city clerk will now swear in all persons who intend to offer testimony this evening on any of these cases.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Will the clerk please read the title?
Resolution 1, 2022, a resolution in the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, approving a site plan for a 139-lot single-family subdivision on approximately 70.49 acres within the Panther National Master Plan Pod 12, located within the residential parcel, Parcel A, of the Avenir Planned Community Development PCD, that is generally located on the north side of North Lake Boulevard, east of Greatview Boulevard, west of Bay Hill Drive, and south of Beeline Highway, as more particularly described herein, providing conditions of approval, providing an effective date, and for other purposes.
Going to open the hearing. Are there any ex partes on this hearing?
I have an ex parte. I spoke to Rosa Schechter
When?
via phone call.
Okay.
Nope.
None from me either. Okay. Hello.
Good evening. So nice to see you all again. For the record, my name is George Missimer with Kotler & Hearing, here tonight on behalf of the applicant and property owner, and I have been sworn in. So we're here tonight to talk about the first resolution of the year, Panther National Pod 12. It's our last residential pod within Panther National to be approved. You're familiar with our development team. There's been no changes there other than you're aware that we have closed, Centaur has closed on the property, so they are processing all their own applications. So we are requesting approval for 139 single-family lots within about 70 acres of the overall master plan. As you're aware, we have had several recent approvals, one for the master plan, the golf course site plan, as well as the first two residential pods that you saw for 13 and 14. Everything you'll see tonight is consistent with that master plan. We do have one small addendum to our pattern book. It's an addition, nothing's been changed. We're just adding some new information specific to Pod 12. Scott Hedge is here tonight, and he'll talk to you about that a little bit later. So you're familiar with the location. We're within the northwestern portion of Avenir, and there's been no change to our total unit count, 218. Pod 12 is located on the western portion of the community. We do not have any internal gates once you make it past the guardhouses, which were previously approved with the master plan. Our lots are a standard of about 90 feet wide, so they're slightly larger than most of the other lots within Avenir, and so because of that, our setbacks are slightly larger, just by a few feet. Now, our northern buffer is consistent with what was approved on the master plan as well as for pods 13 and 14. This is what fronts the conservation area. So you're familiar, we have our 40-foot buffer with the 20-foot fire break, our 6-foot concrete wall located on the berm, which still provides for good views out to that conservation area. So we're protecting and also appreciating that environment. Similarly, on the southern and western sides, we have our approved landscape buffer. It is a 25-foot landscape buffer on the Panther National side, and there would be an additional 25 feet on the neighboring residential parcel. We do have a standard 64-foot right-of-way within the community, which is consistent with the other pods, but we do have several areas where we've expanded it to about 100 feet to provide landscape medians, to provide a break from that long stretch of road and really expand the landscape area, providing that native palette, which really makes something special as you're driving through the community. We do have one major instance of back-to-back lots. Otherwise, they're all fronting either the perimeter, the golf course, or the conservation area. And so in this scenario, we have designed a landscaped berm for that area just to provide, as much privacy for those lots. This is our standard street cross-section. We do have sidewalks on both sides of the street. On the main stretch, we'd have expanded the sidewalk on the eastern side to be 8 feet wide so that golf carts would be able to get onto that section of the sidewalk to go back and forth rather than being in the road like they would be in other portions of the community. This top cross-section is our expanded right-of-way where you can see that wide landscape median in the middle, and you can see the 8-foot sidewalk on the right-hand side. And then bottom cross-section is that landscaped berm area between those back-to-back lots. You can see it's very dense, really well done with, again, that native palette, which is consistent throughout the community. The light fixtures are all very consistent with what you've seen so far. There's been no changes there. And here are some of those renderings, again, showing that native landscaping and what it would feel like driving down that road as you come into Pod 12. We do have 2 mail kiosks located within Pod 12. We separated them north and south just to provide more convenient access for the community members that are located closer. They don't have to come from one end all the way to the other to get their mail. And this is consistent with what you've seen previously for Pods 13 and 14. And that brings us to our pattern book addendum, and Scott Hedge will walk you through.
Good evening, City Council. Excuse me, Scott Hedge for Panther National. I have been sworn in. Thank you for taking the opportunity for us to present the Panther National Pod 12, and I just wanted to start by saying that although this is a separate pod, really the community itself is designed coherently and will, once you come into Panther National, be really a seamless between 14, 13, what have you. It's really designed as a comprehensive neighborhood. You won't really differentiate from one pod to the other. It's just a way for us to be able to go through the approvals and break down the different approaches to the size of the lots, et cetera. But Panther National is really designed as a cohesive, new, modern, contemporary golf community of 200 units on third-acre lots, half-acre lots, and one-acre lots. The Pod 12 is our smaller lot development at 90 foot by 125 and 135, depending on the locations within the parcel as you saw it. And what we've done to add to the pattern book that you approved previously for 13 and 14 is to go into a little bit more depth, if you will, on the floor plan and elevation typologies and showing what our thoughts are relative to how we want to develop contemporary and modern elevations as well as material uses that you saw in our pattern book before. So as you see in the diversity criteria, we've also laid out, since these will be more of a model floor plan that then can have different fenestration on the exterior as well as some interior options. We've written criteria in terms of making sure that we're not building 3 or 4 houses of the same plan, elevation, color, et cetera, in a row to make sure that these floor plans are, in fact, where this neighborhood section of Panther is diverse as well as the rest of them. We've put together a package of elevation themes. We've put together examples of different material palettes. And again, this is all building off of what we did for pods 13 and 14, using very natural materials and colors and things that are compatible with each other. And each of our model types are defined by not only the garage elements, the fenestration for roof elements, shading devices, as we like to refer to them as, doors and windows, wall trim, all of the elements of composition as we had for the custom homes are the same that we have in our models for the smaller homes. So you'll see that it runs through very consistently with the smaller houses and our larger houses. This is an image of front and a rear of what we have in the palette book as Model A. We're still working on our marking and nomenclature, but this particular model has a two-story footprint, and it has, as in all of the models that I show you here tonight, a modern and a contemporary elevation theme to them. And within that, there are also material palettes that go from a select, as we refer to it as, to enhanced and signature. And what is the difference in that? It's the type and the amount of finish that we would put on the exterior of the homes to change the way they look and feel from the exterior, using more stucco in a select home with less of the keystone or wood fenestration, and all the way to a signature home which would have more keystone and have a little bit more, or less, if you will, stucco and some of those other materials. So that kind of differentiates the 3 different elevation styles that we're working towards, and a modern and a contemporary being one that would have a pitched roof with solar tiles on it versus a flat roof with hidden solar tiles on it. We are still incorporating the Tesla power walls and that sustainability into these homes as well. So again, following through on a lot of the things that you saw in our packages on 13 and 14. Each of the models in your package have front elevations that show that fenestration from a signature, and it also shows the contemporary and the modern elevations. I selected through here the Model A that shows you all of the elevations, but Model B has modern and contemporary. I didn't pull all of those elevations for you. I think you have it in your package just to save relative to the time. Our Model C is a 2-story, very unique home as well, and a lot of these houses are designed so they have view corridors out towards the rear yards. There's great rooms that have the ability to have a front office in this particular plan. A lot of the things that we're designing towards right now allow for a home office. A lot of the things that people are looking for today in home design to allow for not only home office use, but also to be able to get outside and bring a lot of light and air into the homes, which is, again, very similar to what we designed or showed you in our previous presentation. This is a home Model D, which is designed as a side yard. We've got some interior lots that would benefit from having not a rear yard pool location, but a side yard. So we're kind of designing homes that would be specific to a location as well, that give us a little bit more variety, and also would have a scheme that as you enter the community, instead of just seeing side home elevations, it actually presents itself as a front. So a lot of the homes that you'll see in the street profiles that I showed you are really designed to be site-specific and allows us a lot of flexibility. This is a very two-dimensional illustration of some of the different model types that we've developed. And this morning, we just finished up doing some studies for our marketing, et cetera, and I didn't have an opportunity to send those over to Brett previously, but I did want to show to you guys some of the things that we're working on to give you a better illustration of some of the way these houses will look from a street view. This is the A model type. Again, we're working on the model or the sales nomenclature for our model types. Here's the other one-story home, and these are actual garages that have wood fenestration that are applied to them that disguise the garage doors, et cetera, and really make everything disappear. A lot of the keystone that you see in there in terms of the types of material that we're utilizing, that's a two-story version of a very similar home with the entryway off to the left there. And then another one, this is probably more of the higher end with the fenestration, more keystone than the stucco versions. And again, just trying to give you guys an idea and a feel for how these translate from 2D into 3-dimensional and what we're really looking at for these street scenes for Panther National. Again, we're really excited about being here, and if you have any questions for me on the application or the architecture, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Okay. Carl, you have any questions?
You know, Scott, I don't know. It's awesome. We're no barrel tile, right?
No barrel.
Yeah, good.
No Mediterranean. It's actually, if you
Right?
look at the pattern book, we did take that out of
Yeah. I don't have any questions. Maybe as you move along, maybe, because I know we all like to come out and take tours of stuff we're approving, so we can absorb what our signature does. So when you guys get moving, you know, if you can give me a holler, I'm sure my fellow council members would love to come out there and just see and go through the experience with you. So I have no comments for now. It looks great. Thank you, Scott and George.
Thank you.
Mark?
The housing square footage ranges from what to what in this
On
pod?
those houses, they range from about 4,500 square feet to about 6.
So even the one-story homes are 4,500 square feet
Yes,
under air?
yes.
Wow, thank you.
And so they will mostly all of our houses will meet that criteria, so they will be fully sprinkled, just so you know.
I think I remember reading in the packet that certain homes, the ones on the water and the ones by the preserve, will have to have the fences behind them. Is that correct? So they will come with the fences, but fences are optional for anybody else.
Yeah, and if you recall, if you look at the package, on the preserve homes, there is a security wall on the downside of the slope against the preserve, since it's open to the public. But then there will be an ability to put a fence line along the property line as well if the homeowner elects to do so. But there is security around the perimeter of the project.
But on the water ones, there are fences.
Yes.
That is good. What about on the one where they're back to back and you have the berm? Is there fencing there, or is that optional for the homeowner?
That's optional for the homeowner. We probably anticipate that most of them, or we will put fencing along those just to secure that common area in the back. But it's something that we're still looking at in terms of how to put some of the homes will have walls as well, and so we're looking at whether or not the back property lines will have the similar type of wall that you saw in our images in the front along the back walls as well. So we're kind of working through a lot of that. We did put in the pattern book the options in terms of the typologies of fences that you can utilize for each of the homes. And like I said, we're still kind of finalizing where we're going to place a block wall versus a picket fence versus the other types of security.
Does that have to go back through planning and zoning when that's decided?
Yeah, just to clarify, on the back-to-backs, there is a 4-foot aluminum fence depicted in the exhibits. We do that. If the applicant wishes to flesh out concepts, it's something that we could work out at staff level. Typically, minor adjustments like that are done as a minor admin, which is an application that's very streamlined. $50, and they're usually approved in a few days.
Yeah, and I think to Natalie's point, and I apologize, all of the common areas like the parks and things like that, if there are homes adjacent to them, we do have fencing that separates the property lines from those common areas.
Okay, thank you. Chelsea?
Thank you so much. It's going to be a really notable community for our city, let alone county or country even. It's really going to be extraordinary. Thank you. So even though we only have 218 homes here, this might be more of a staff question. What are we looking at as far as triggering signalization for Avenir and North Lake or anything like that as more and more people flock to purchase these homes?
Yes, unfortunately, the signalization and the utilization specifically of the forecasted signals at these intersections, in this particular case, it will be Panther coming down to connect with North Lake, and then Avenir, which are currently unsignalized. Coconut is currently signalized, but would require a modification of that existing signal to accommodate the traffic from Avenir. The trips are set forth in the development order, and they will be triggered by the monitoring of these building permits as they come in, but it is exclusively controlled by Palm Beach County, who makes the determination after the signal warrant analysis is issued based on the criteria set forth in the Palm Beach County manual for the ultimate signalization. And the trips will have to accumulate to the point where Palm Beach County determines the need for the signal. But I will say there is a signal projected coming down off of the Panther connection to North Lake, and there is a signal that is projected ultimately connect to Avenir Drive. That was included in the analysis. However, the anticipation of the signal is very different from the actual triggering point where those building permits are coming in and Palm Beach County says, aha, you actually meet those signal warrants and we will issue you a permit. So we do not control that, unfortunately.
Thank you.
However, we will continue to advocate for those signals and as we continue to advocate for safety for our residents in the city.
That was my next question. Thank you. Great answer, and thank you for the clarification. How do you pronounce the architect's last name?
Strang.
Strang.
Yes.
Okay, great. Because I just did the Palm Beach Marathon with a relay, and there were a couple of Strang homes being built along the waterway in West Palm, and they were stunning, absolutely stunning. So I can't wait to see it here in our city. Thank you.
Thank you again. Looks great. Look forward to seeing it. As my colleagues have mentioned, love the pattern book. I think you've spoiled us now going forward. Just a question to piggyback on Chelsea's questions in regards to the signal. Once the threshold is met, who can do the warrant study?
Typically what happens is that the applicant submits the warrant study, and then it is reviewed by Palm Beach County. Okay. And the applicant in this particular case is the master developer, and so it's currently Avenir LLC or Avenir Development LLC that will continue to do that monitoring, continue to regularly submit those analyses.
Okay, perfect. And in regards to the walls and fences, if the residential houses choose to put up their fences along their back areas, and you have the concrete wall if it was against the conservation area, or the fence if it's against the common area, is there access provided? Because I know some of the common areas are fence access to maintain the common areas for regular maintenance.
Yeah, that's a good question. And we did build that in terms of access points from the common areas into that area that's kind of in between the private lot and the downside of the wall. So okay. Absolutely, yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, that was it.
All right, great. I do not have any comment cards, so I'm going to close the hearing. Can I get a motion and a second to approve?
I'd like to make the motion to accept Resolution 1, 2022.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion?
Nope.
We're good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Congratulations. Looking forward to seeing it all. Will the clerk please read the title for Resolution 2?
Resolution 2, 2022, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, approving a site plan amendment for single-family home floor plan models, architectural elevation themes, and typical lot landscaping for Avondale at Avenir, residential site plan number 3, Pod 6, Pod 7, and Pod 8, within the Avenir Plan Community Development PCD that is generally located on the north side of North Lake Boulevard, east of Greatview Boulevard, west of Bay Hill Drive, and south of Beeline Highway, as more particularly described herein, providing conditions of approval, providing an effective date and for the purposes.
I'm going to open the hearing. Are there any ex partes on Avondale at Avenir?
Nope.
I have an ex parte. I spoke to Rosa Schechter on Tuesday.
Okay. Hello there.
Hi, good evening. Ken Toom with Urban Design Studio, 10 Clematis Street, West Palm Beach, Florida, 33401. I've been sworn in. Thank you for having me here this evening. Here today on behalf of Pulte Homes. So our homes are not going to be quite as big as what you just saw, but they're going to be very well designed and a very nice design. So the community is within the Avenir project. It's called Avondale, and it's parcel 6, 7, and 8, and I'll show you that on a screen, but it's all the way in the northeast, the north corner off of Coconut. As part of your approval, which you approved almost 2 years ago now, you put a requirement, said, hey, you need to come back in and show us your models, and that's what we're here this evening for, to show the models and design for the proposed site. So what's in front of you is the Avenir PCD, which you're familiar with. I'm going to jump through that slide. But identified in red, the oval, is the parcel that's in front of you this evening. You've already approved a site plan. What's specifically in front of you this evening is the models themselves. In fact, the site plan was approved on June 4th, 2020. It was Resolution 35, 2020. It consists of 3 parcels of land. Pod 6 is the 50-foot wide lots. Pod 7 and 8 are 70-foot wide lots. They're both 130 feet deep. So what's in front of you this evening, again, is the architectural models and then also the typical lot landscaping. I'm going to go through this fairly quickly. I have about 4 or 5 slides, mostly showing the elevations in a 3D rendering format. So the model homes, architecturally, there are a total of 11 models being proposed on the parcels. There are 3 and 4 architectural styles, and there's 6 and 7 color schemes. I'm going to walk you through because there's a differential between the 70-foot lot and the 50-foot lot. So the first parcel, Pod 6, which are the 50-foot wide lots by 130 feet, there are 5 models, and then there are 4 separate architectural elevations, and then there are also 6 color schemes with that. So the first one is the coastal style architecture. This particular parcel, this particular home is a 1-story coastal style architecture. As seen on the screen in front of you, you can see the rafters, the lap siding. That's the definition of a coastal style architecture. The next one, from an architectural standpoint, is the prestige model, and this is a transitional modern style. And the key things for the transitional model style, how Pulte's approached it, is with the shed roofs, the stucco, the stacked stone, and then also the windows, the large glass windows in the front. So that is the prestige in the transition modern style. The next one, showing another coastal style, this home is called the Mainstay. Again, the lap siding, the rafters, the columns, and then you can kind of see how the roof lines are working here for the coastal style on the Mainstay. And then the Fifth Avenue, we're showing this to you in the Craftsman style. Excuse me. So you can kind of tell the Craftsman items with the brackets, and then the tapered columns are kind of a component of that style of architecture. This is a 2-story home. It has the shutters, which are another component of Craftsman style. Then the Florida Mediterranean is Pulte's review of Mediterranean style homes. This is a Riverwalk model. The stacked stone, heavy stucco, barrel tile roof, kind of the bay window look, all those common themes that are a part of the Florida Mediterranean style. And then there's just a view of a street view. We did remove some trees here so you could see kind of what it looks like, but this is just an idea of what the streetscape would look. A two-story product with the tapered columns. Here you'll see the shed roofs, another shed roof adjacent to it, and then the kind of the craftsman style on the end. The next set of approvals are pod 7 and 8. They are approved on the 70-foot wide lots by 130 feet deep. Those models there are 6 separate models, and there are 3 architectural styles being proposed, and specifically 6 color schemes for quite a diverse proposal. So this is, again, the transition modern on the Stardom home. The Stardom home is a little bit bigger home. It is about 22, this one is a 3-bedroom, it's 2,200 square feet. It's in that transitional modern with the lap siding and the shed roofs. Here you can see the coastal design, again with the brackets and the columns and the lap siding. This one's called the Stellar model. This is the Reverence model in coastal style of architecture. And then this is the Renown model, which is shown here in transition modern. Again, the shed roofs, the lap siding, the stack stone. And then this is the Millstone, which I believe is the biggest house. Well, actually, it's not quite the biggest house, but it's close. It's a 4-bedroom home at 3,400 square feet, showing it in a Mediterranean style. And then the Whitestone, which is also a 4-bedroom home, is 3,700 square feet. And it's in the contemporary model here with the shed roofs, the siding, and also the stack stone. A street view showing how those 70-foot lots will look on an angle. Again, remove some of the street trees so you can kind of get a view of what it looks like. The lot landscaping plans. The lot landscaping plans are consistent with the other communities that you've approved. I'm going to walk you through 2 of them. One for pod 6, which is a 50-foot wide lot, and then one for the other pods, which are 70-foot wide lots. So this is the 5th Avenue landscaping plan. And on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see kind of the standard lot without a pool. You'll see the landscaping. In this case, we've chose 3 palm trees on both sides of the building. There's a street tree associated with it. There is shrubs running down the side of the building, a shade tree in the rear, and palm trees. And if you recall, there's kind of a list of plant material that you get to choose, and this meets those criteria within that list. You're not necessarily saying you're going to use this palm tree, but you have a list in the plans that allows you to make selections of those. And then the one in the middle shows what happens if there's an optional pool. And on the right-hand side is what happens if it's on a corner lot, and if it can be seen from the side, so if it's an enhanced landscaping on the sides. And the one on the right is for the right-hand elevation, the one on the left is for the left-hand elevation. This is just a blow-up of the same slide to show you what the pool would look like. And this is the Renown, which is in the 70-foot product line. It's on similar landscaping. On this particular model, street tree, palm trees on the corner, accent tree, accent shrubs, shrubs down the side, lots of ground cover in the front, palm trees in the rear, and a shade tree, additional accent tree, and an accent tree. And the same thing with the optional pool. There's more shrubs or hedges along the pool to block that view from your neighbors. And then adjacent to the next one over is if it's an enhanced side, meaning that it is on a corner lot and there's additional landscaping. So the side of the building shows landscaping more than architecture. And that's my presentation for this evening. We have our whole team here, happy to answer any questions you may have. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll start at this end.
Alrighty then. Looks great. Thank you very much for the presentation. And I really noticed all of the alternate options that this development will have, which is pretty remarkable. I love the community that I live in, and one of the reasons is because there were so many options, which is a nightmare for builders, as you know, because you were actually part of the development when that happened. So, yeah, long stories, but nonetheless, I had a lot of questions in regards to the site plan, which Natalie was able to answer, and also the alternate options, one in which was the addition of the garage extension. I just wanted to make sure that that will, when that's done or opted for, that it would still meet the parking requirements for the driveway, because that was a concern to me. All's good. Well, thank you.
Chelsea?
Thanks, Ken. So loving the anti-monotony, as I've mentioned before, I live in a neighborhood that didn't have that. And it's not uncommon for people who are visiting from out of town just to walk into random houses because they all look the same. So I'm really glad to see that won't be happening anymore. My only question is about what happens in the future. So because we're approving floor plan and elevation, does that mean that 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, if a resident wants to make their, I don't know, whatever they want to do, change a garage to a golf cart or do some other change or renovation, do they have to go through council? Is it considered a new model? What would that process look like? And I'll have another question probably after you explain it.
Sure. It's actually quite common that developers may seek to amend a model or add a model, and we do this at staff level. So if the applicant in the future wishes to tweak some of these, that is done almost 100% of the time at a staff level. This is, of course, assuming that they meet the setbacks that are approved and the development standards. And in this particular case, there are several options that have been included, and so the residents have quite a bit of a variety. And in those options, you can see how those architectural finishes carry on. If there's ever an addition in the future, they'll have to continue. There is a condition of approval that requires that the landscaping continue with that addition so that there's a continuous flow of that landscaping. And so as long as they're within the setbacks that are approved, really we work with this situation quite a bit.
Sorry, thank you. Okay, so they would just need to go through their process with zoning, not have to go through the entire process to come back to us again.
Correct, yes. It would not be
Just
a
to be
council
clear.
approval process. Of course, there typically is a homeowners association, which has their own restrictive covenants
Right.
that the residents would have to comply with as well, which
Perfect.
we do not enforce, but they may be even stricter depending on how the community is managed.
Understood. All right, I appreciate that. Thank you.
What's the timeline to actually start constructing homes? Do you guys already have a sales force? I know the infrastructure, because I drove out there not long ago, and a lot of it's already kind of...
Yeah, the infrastructure for Pod 7 is near completion. I could tell you that Pulte wants to start building tomorrow.
Okay.
I
So
can
do
answer
they
that
have, do they have an
affirmatively.
active, do they have an active sales force already? And
Yes,
selling
they haven't been selling yet because they wanted to wait for your approval. Obviously, it's because they need to make sure the models that they're presenting are to be approved. But after this evening, I suspect it'll go on sale tomorrow.
Okay. And there's obviously a lot of demand for this, because these are obviously more typical for
Right,
affordable
well,
housing.
you have smaller square footage, right? You're going from 22,000 square feet up to 34, so it's a different market than what you saw a few minutes ago in Scott's project.
Thank you.
Carl?
It's nice, this council wasn't in the beginning stages of the approval of Avenir, but this council's probably going to sign off on most of this stuff as it continues to grow. So it's nice to see almost every little pod, whether it be Panther or whatever, come in front of us so we can just approve everyone as it goes. And my point is, we're so ingrained with Avenir, and it's really a nice product. Panther's gorgeous. These products are really nice. I know every one of us walked all the models to get a feel of what we're approving. And it's a beautiful, community, all of it. As it grows, we'll deal with traffic with baby steps. We'll deal with the county with baby steps. It took us forever to get one signal approved. So, we'll fight that front when we need to, but well done, Ken. I always appreciate you coming up here. Thank you.
It really is that every pod and every developer has their own signature, and each community is distinct in its identity and its feel, yet all of Avenir is cohesive. And this fits into the overall picture of Avenir and the way it was intended, and I think it's going to be a very popular community.
I think, I agree with you, Mayor, and I think kind of one of the most important things, and that was that concurrence of your staff, was at the entries, the signage package that you approved, you'll notice that all the entry features are required to have that portion, that oolite stone. I think that really kind of creates a nice theme and ties everything together as you go through the rest of the project, in my opinion.
Natalie, to go back for one more minute, not to beat a dead horse, how many building permits do we have in Avenir so far?
Madam Mayor, the data's a little outdated, just about a couple months, but I think the last time I checked, it was over 100 permits have been submitted, and I would say there's been about 20 homes that have been closed on.
Do we know what the trigger is for Avenir Drive in terms of permits for the signal? Only because the questions have come in to us through email about that particular signal. To trigger the study, to trigger the warrant study.
Yeah, so with each biennial report that Avenir submits, the PCD is required to submit, they have to submit a signal warrant study. And the trips are based off of building permits that have been issued.
Right.
And so it's not the number of homes that you all have approved, but the actual number of building permits that have been issued.
That's why I asked how many
Right.
permits we've had. So.
Right, so that, and the trips are also, relative to each use. So for example, a single family home would create a lot less trips than commercial or a medical use or something like that. So with only having single family homes approved being built right now, those trips are pretty minimal.
Okay.
But if you would like those exact numbers, I can get you that information.
Okay, thank you. All right. I do not have any comment cards on this item, so I will close the hearing. Can I get a motion and a second to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2, 2022.
I'll second.
No further discussion? No further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Will the clerk please read Resolution 3, 2022?
Resolution 3, 2022, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, approving a site plan amendment for the Clubhouse Parcel F1 to allow a new 17,637 square foot lifestyle center and pool amenity on a 9.69 acre site, more or less, within the Old Palm Plan Community Development PCD that is located north of PGA Boulevard, between Central Boulevard and Florida's Turnpike, as more particularly described herein, providing conditions of approval, providing an effective date, and for the purposes.
I'm opening the hearing. Are there any ex partes?
None.
None, and we will ask Mark again when he comes back, unless you'd like to hold for 1 minute.
It's totally up to you, Mayor.
We'll just give it a minute. He should be back in a minute, and we'll just. Applaud when he comes back in the room. If it wasn't quasi, I would proceed.
He didn't get any votes out of Old Palm, so he's in the back.
All right, here he comes. Here he comes. Any ex partes on the Old Palm Clubhouse? No ex partes. Thank you for your patience.
No problem, thank you. Good evening, my name is Brian Donahue. I'm with Insight Studio. We're here on behalf of Old Palm Golf Club this evening to present to you a site plan amendment application to allow for a 17,000 square foot lifestyle center on their clubhouse parcel. Excuse me. For orientation purposes, Old Palm Golf Club is located just on the east side of the Florida Turnpike, just west of Central Boulevard, and PGA Boulevard's just off the screen there on the south side. You can see the Clubhouse Parcel within the development highlighted there on the screen. So a closer look at the Clubhouse Parcel. You can see the existing clubhouse there on the west side of the parcel. There's an existing pool, a couple of casita buildings out to the east, the entry drive and parking lot, and you notice the vacant parcel to the north, which is now highlighted on the screen. That vacant piece of land is where the proposed approximate 17,000 square foot lifestyle center building will be located. Excuse me. Again, we're here requesting approval of an amendment for the previously approved site plan, two-story lifestyle center. It's approximately 17,000 square feet. It'll include a fitness center, spa, and cafe. There will also be an outdoor pool located on the west end of the property. 19,000 square foot, 1,900 square foot playground area will be located on the northeast side. We'll have additional golf cart parking, circulation, and access for the proposed facility. And there were three tennis courts that were previously approved that are being removed from the previous approval, and this is where the building will be located. On the screen here is a view looking to the east, standing on the proposed development site. This is looking out towards Old Palm Drive. This is looking to the north, and I want to point out in these pictures, and I'll talk a little more about this in the presentation, but you can see there's two existing residential units to the north that are pretty heavily buffered. You can barely see the one in this view, and this one you can get some small glimpses there. Just point that out because we will be speaking about the additional buffering we are going to do. This is a view to the west looking out over the golf course on that vacant parcel. And this is the previously approved site plan. As I mentioned, there's 3 tennis courts that were approved as a future phase of development that were never built, and that is where the proposed lifestyle center will be located. This is the site plan modified to show the proposed lifestyle center, and I'm going to zoom in on a graphic representation of that here. So this is how it integrates with the existing circulation. As you can see on this screen, and again, I'll zoom in to get into more detail, the north end of the existing parking lot will be slightly modified to provide a drop-off and access way. The existing cart path that cuts from east to west on the screen, just south of the proposed buildings, will stay, and it's actually going to be expanded to provide better emergency access, which is something we worked through with staff during the approval process. There will also be golf cart parking located on that driveway. Here is a blow-up of that area that's going to be impacted. So as I mentioned on the bottom of the screen there, you see the proposed drop-off area with a paver connection that connects to the center of the building. It's essentially 2 separate buildings with a covered breezeway and stair tower in the center. So there's a stair tower with an elevator shaft in the middle. The east wing of the building is primarily the cafe and the spa function, and then the west side is primarily the fitness function. As you can see, as you go further west on the site, there's a large covered patio that looks out over the proposed pool. This will be the second pool on the property. This is primarily a fitness pool, so it's going to have lap lanes. It's not going to be the lounging hangout pool. It's just for cardio and fitness purposes. Again, you can see the expanded cart path, which will function as emergency access. And we've provided about 50 or 60 cart parking spaces, which the club believes will be the primary way that most people, come and go from the lifestyle center in their golf carts. This is a perspective rendering from the proposed drop-off looking at the building. So as you can see, heavy Mediterranean influences in the architecture, the barrel tile roof, the arches, the columns. The architecture was designed by Peacock and Lewis to match the existing clubhouse. The existing clubhouse is actually has some renovations going on. They've changed the color of the building. It's been, traditionally this kind of heavy yellow. They're going to this lighter and airy, more alabaster white color to give it a nice fresh look. And you can see the landscaping flanking. You got the east building and the west building there. This is a view from Old Palm Drive looking into the property, showing the east wing, which would be, again, primarily the spa function. These are the proposed elevations. So the south elevation on the top of the screen, north elevation is seen from the parking lot and the drop-off, so you can see that central stair tower architectural feature there in the center. East and west elevation. So east elevation is seen from Old Palm Drive, and then the west elevation is seen from the golf course. And these are the floor plans. So first floor here on the west wing, primarily sort of open studio function with the men's and women's locker rooms. And then on the east side there, you've got the multi-purpose room. There's going to be a small cafe and a kids club with some staff space. And the second floor on the west end is going to be your more cardio area with your typical exercise equipment. And then on the east side, the second floor is primarily the spa function. So you're going to have your typical treatment rooms for manicure and pedicure, massage rooms, men's and women locker rooms, and some staff space. So to speak a little more about the buffering, you can see the development area highlighted on the screen. There's a pretty extensive existing landscape buffer. I'll show you some photos of that buffer. And just for orientation purposes, the photos that I show, I'm kind of standing where it's labeled existing landscape buffer, and you see the arrow pointing whenever I flip to that screen. This is the proposed landscape buffering, so we are enhancing the existing buffer to try to fill in any of those voids that are there for the residents adjacent on the north side. So this is the view from that angle. I'm actually on the residential parcel there that's a little to the north, looking back through towards our development site. So as you can see, you know, when they planned the community, they built the berm, they built the water feature, and there's extensive landscaping there. We've got some oak trees and some ligustrum, some palms, a variety of multi-layered material that does provide a nice buffer. Here's another view looking down. Again, you can see the water feature. There's actually some waterfalls buried in there as well that create some white noise to help drown out any of the noise from the club parcel. Here's a cross section. The two buildings are going to be separated by, I think it's over 100 feet. You can see the left side of the screen is the proposed lifestyle center. The right side is the existing residential. The building will be about 30 feet tall. We're going to propose a 15-foot buffer area. The gaps that we mainly saw in the buffering was in the kind of lower to mid-level, so we're proposing clusia hedges, ligustrum, some additional sable palms, some clusia trees, and other kind of mid to lower level material that'll help fill in some of those gaps. The project was approved by a majority vote of the community in 2020. It was also unanimously recommended for approval by PZAB on December 14th, I believe was the date. And we request approval of the application this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any comment cards on this. Does anyone have any questions?
The pool, I'm sorry.
Okay.
The pool that is proposed here, you said that was a lap pool, not a kid pool. So the entertaining pool is elsewhere. So was that something that mitigated some of the concern of the neighbors?
I don't know that there were really no concerns of the neighbors as far as I understand. So, you know, the project went through multiple processes through the community. I think they had, 10 to 12 outreach meetings with the community to gain support for the project, and they communicate with the membership, obviously, equity membership there. So everybody's a member of the community and they understand what's going on. So,
what were the hours that they were going to be open?
The hours of operation for the facility? I don't know that. I can certainly look into that for you. I'm not
Just
really
curious.
sure.
I'm sure it won't be open late at night.
I don't think it'll be very late.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
I want to thank you so much for the resident outreach that you did. It's always a breath of fresh air for people who live somewhere to have been included in the decision. I understand it's part of the membership, but
Right.
10 or 12 meetings to accomplish what their needs were is really being a good neighbor, and we always appreciate that. So
Yeah, and
thank
that was
you.
part of, just to elaborate a little bit on that, they've got a lot of projects going on out there, so that's part of their kind of master plan for the next 5 years of all the different things that they've got going on. So they've been continually communicating and making sure they're keeping up with the rest of the clubs in the area like they all do. So,
Martha, anything?
Yeah, I do have a question in regards to the lifestyle building, the new building that's proposed. Is there, as far as sustainability, is there like an energy management system besides LED lights, which was noted in the staff report? Is there like an HVAC energy management system? Is there solar panels anywhere? Is there any type of parking LED lights going up in the new parking area?
there's going to be LED lighting in the parking area. Inside the building, I know the HVAC system will be meeting all the current building codes, which require a lot of efficiencies in the way that those are designed. From a lighting standpoint, there will be sensors on the lights inside the building that turn them off. So, and I know with the HVAC system nowadays in the building code, it requires certain technologies, and I'm not a mechanical engineer, but this has been discussed in the process and I've been involved. So there are going to be some efficiencies in those systems.
Okay.
Do you happen to know when they're expecting to start construction on this? What's the time plan?
I think I'd give the same answer as Ken. As soon as this is approved and they can get building permits in place, they're going to start construction. So
Because this is like the third time that they've asked for changes, I think, on this parcel. So it'd be really nice to have them finally get their buildings there, so.
yeah, so currently we actually processed an amendment to the site plan for the existing fitness building, and they're converting that to a new dining facility. That's under construction now. That's expected to be CO'd sometime in the next month or two, and they're immediately rolling into construction on this as soon as that's finished.
Our friends in Old Palm will be happy.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. All right, going to close the hearing. Any further discussion? Can I get a motion and a second to approve?
Make a motion to approve Resolution 3, 2022.
I'll second.
Now it's when I should have brought it back for discussion, but we have none. So all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you
Motion
very much.
passes 5-0. Okay, so where are we? We are at, we have no resolutions. Items for council action, discussion, and items of interest. I will not keep us long, but I thought it was important to talk a little bit about Palm Beach County Days. And Chelsea and I were supposed to be up there this week, and because of COVID, we decided to participate from the benefit of our bedrooms and the computer once again. Matt Forrest, our lobbyist, was able to secure all of the appointments we would have had in person in Tallahassee virtually. One of the most important ones that we had involved Courtney Drummond from FDOT. We met with Mr. Drummond about the Central Boulevard I-95 interchange and our inability to secure any of the privacy or barrier walls that we are looking for our residents in the communities around that. And that would involve Old Palm, the Quay, Central Gardens, the Grand Apartments, Hamptons, Harbor Chase, and a portion of the city park. So Mr. Drummond took copious notes. He was very interested to work with us and said that he would be reaching out to the district for FDOT and see if we could reopen talks with them about helping to mitigate some of the issues that are going to result from this. The project is not set to start till November 28th, till 2028, and be done, I think, somewhere in that 3 to 5 year range. So that was, anything to add to that meeting, Chelsea?
No, you did a great job, and we're hopeful he brings it back to home so that we can work on it.
And John was in the meeting with us and helped out with some of the details and providing some of the information that we needed. There are a couple of bills that should be on everybody's radar with respect to cities. I'll start out with the good one first. We met with Rep. Roth and we met with Senator Powell. We thank them both for bringing forward our appropriations for our stormwater treatment. It's a matching action. It's the only thing that we are asking in appropriations this year. There is quite a bit of money up in Tallahassee this year because of the federal funding, so we're hopeful. But exciting is SB 1824 and House Bill 1415. The House bill is titled Alternative Mobility Funding Systems and was put forward by Robinson, and the sponsor of SB 1824, the Mobility Funding Systems, is Broader. And basically what these two bills do is they provide the details on the mobility plan and the mobility fee. Everything that we as a city did to get ours started and up and running, the details are now, we'll have state back teeth so to speak, if these bills are passed. So we did ask Rep. Roth and Senator Powell to support them, to reach out to anybody they knew on the committees to help get these through. And it's something that we should follow, because pretty much we've done everything that is in these bills that they are going to require for this. Our plan could be the model for these bills, even though it wasn't. So that's a good thing. On the other side of it, we have Senate Bill 280 and House Bill 403. Senate Bill 280, local ordinances. It's called Local Ordinances, and it has an identical House companion, which is House Bill 403. These two bills provide that a court may award attorney fees to a complainant successfully challenging a local government ordinance on the grounds that the ordinance is arbitrary or unreasonable. It requires counties and municipalities to adopt a business impact statement before the adoption of any proposed ordinance, and it requires the suspension of enforcement of any newly enacted ordinance if a party challenging the ordinance requests suspension by the court. So it really can tie the hands of municipal government and county government. We can pass an ordinance, somebody doesn't like it, they register a complaint, everything's on hold. And we can't do business that way. Our residents, we can't do what we need to do for them. So it's an unfunded mandate, and there's many questions that remain about the ability of the individual businesses to stop and challenge this as they work through the system. There were two other ones. Let's see. Senate Bill 620 and House Bill 59 that are also local government bills. And they create a cause of action for an established business to recover loss of business damages from a county or municipality whose regulatory action has caused a significant negative impact, which is defined as greater than 15% loss of revenue or profit on the business. But a lot of questions remain on how municipalities will be able to make ordinances that impact businesses across the board for the common goods of their cities, but may have financial impacts on a single business. So these are several bills that we should be watching. The Florida, it's called the floridachannel.org. You can log on to that. Anybody can log on to see any of the committee hearings that are going on. And you can also look up the Senate tracker and the House tracker. You can put in your reps by name. You can put in the bills or the titles, and you can get text messages and emails as the bills move through the process. So, Chelsea, anything to add?
Not to that. I'll speak after you're done about some odds and ends.
Okay, so next year in Tallahassee, in person.
Okay, so I just want to talk about some TPA information. I want to encourage my council, when you have residents that reach out to you about suggestions or concerns regarding mobility and traffic, there's a map for that. It's www.palmbeachtpa.org/comment map. I'm happy to share it in any way. I share it all the time on social media and to residents, so that when someone is saying that they're driving down the road, it's unsafe, anywhere in the county, they can put a pin in it. It also has mapping to explain if it's a city road, a county road, a state road, anything like that. So it's also a great way for residents to understand that even if a road is in Palm Beach Gardens, it doesn't necessarily mean we have the ability to change it. So I'm happy to share that. And then also, I'd love for all of us to consider doing something in May for Bike Month. It's a pretty big deal for transportation. Florida has something called lovetoride.net. So May 10th is Bike to School Day. May 15th to 19th is Bike Week, and for Bike to Work Week. And then May 19th is the day you're supposed to bike to work. So maybe we could look at doing something. I know Marcy's not allowed to, but we'll figure something out. And then I want to take a moment to thank our staff for all of our wonderful holiday celebrations. Holy cow, I didn't see a day where our rec staff wasn't working their buns off, and it was beautiful. Even watching everybody dress up as elves was extraordinary. And the tree, the menorah, everything just made me so proud to represent our city. So thank you guys for helping us celebrate so beautifully. And then I also want to thank our staff again for the 20th anniversary of the Green Market, and also thank the previous councils who helped us get it started. And Eric Jablin, the godfather of the Green Market, unfortunately couldn't make it, but what a shining star we have here in our hometown. So thank you guys so much for everything you do to help us have a great city.
And Joe Russo came, but he ended up coming late. Unfortunately, he thought it started at 10 instead of 9. I guess I should have told him.
Okay, anybody else with items of interest? Then we move on to Max.
We're just still waiting on the judge's ruling in the, as it relates to the outcome of our injunctive relief hearing. Haven't heard anything yet. So we're just waiting. Judge had a lot to read, and then with the intervening holidays, I'm sure she's backed up with a pretty heavy workload. So hopefully we'll have something by into January, mid-February, but we'll see.
Mobility?
Yeah, it's about the mobility. Yeah.
And if they drag it out long enough and the bills pass, it becomes a moot point. So,
Mayor, I do want to
Yeah.
make one comment, if I may, just to answer the question. The facility is open, the Old Palm facility is open from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. That was in our staff report. I just wanted to answer your question.
okay, great, okay. So I guess that's it for tonight, y'all. So everybody stay safe, and thank you.